Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at 5 or 6 brawlers that have really fallen off in the meta within the past 6 months or so, and people just kind of forget that these brawlers exist. So before we jump into this video, make sure you're using the create code. That'd be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Alright guys, so jumping into the 5th brawler that essentially fell off within the meta, it is going to be Fang. So of course, Fang received a huge nerf. The main reason why he's really fallen off, but I thought even with the nerfs that he received, he would have still been a pretty strong brawler. His first star power got hit really hard, but I just don't see him pretty much anywhere when it comes down to competitive play. When we comes down to Power League as well, the higher ranks, Fang's just never really used. It's just better assassins in the meta right now. It took a big hit in so many different ways. Right now, it's just so easy to kill as well. His second star power is the more favorable one, just because it gives you a little bit more HP, but just seems really easy to kill. It's really hard to actually get the kills onto opponents as well. Just not really the best brawler right now. So we can see if we can try and take this Poco down. I'm just going to have to use my super in time. But yeah, this is the main reason why I don't want to really make this video to like a worst brawlers video, but these are some brawlers that have kind of like over time or within a short period of time just gone from one of the best brawlers inside of a game and slowly just dropped off, and not really many people talk about them or really use them anymore. So looks like we've got our super again. So normally with a Fang, you want to go onto the brawlers that don't really deal a lot of DPS, but you see I'm just really struggling to do anything whatsoever. Before with Fang, the main reason why he was so strong, you could just press the auto aim, or the super auto aim button, and just spam that button constantly. You would just be killing different things around the map, but now it just seems really hard to actually latch onto someone and kill them, especially the stun duration on the gadget. It's only 0.5 seconds now. So let's see if we can get Poco down in time. We eventually do kill the Poco, but we're not really doing too much. We're just flying in and just looking fancy. So that's going to be the 5th brawler, which I believe has fell off the most. Let's hop into number 4. Okay, so now jumping into the 4th brawler, which I believe has kind of fallen off within the Brawl Stars meta, we have Poco. So Poco, with Poco double tank, is still strong on ladder, but I'm trying to base this more so off of Power League, and I just don't see Poco being played pretty much anywhere when it comes down to Power League, which is a big shame, because Poco, he was good fun and competitive last year, a little bit cheesy, especially when the enemy team didn't have any sort of like tank counter, but I believe he does need some sort of buff to make him a little bit more viable on his own. He is a support brawler, so you can't of course make him too overpowered, but I would just like to see some sort of buff to like Screeching Solo to his base main attack damage, just something that would make him a little bit more viable in the meta. That would be pretty nice to see, but I do believe he has pretty much fallen off within the meta. That's why I put him in this category. I wouldn't really say he's like the worst brawler, but when it comes down to like trying to use him, he's just really not good. And there's also other brawlers in the meta that just counter him too much. You know, brawlers like Crow, for example, he's got the anti-heal. Just also Crow just jumping on you all the time. It's just really bad for a brawler like Poco in this meta. So yeah, also let me down in the comment section below what type of videos you guys want to see. I feel like I ask this question a lot. I don't really get too many suggestions though, so I hope you guys can put a bunch down in the comment section below. You know, I look at Brawl Stars content right now, and pretty much every YouTuber is kind of recycling the same old content over and over again, obviously myself including, and I just like to see some type of fresh content on this channel. So let me know what you would like to see. Of course, you know, the same generic videos that I know you guys want to see, but any ideas that are just like completely out of the ordinary, you know, like ones that can take a long time to get as well, you know, like milestone videos, you know, whether you want me to do certain challenges, let me know in the comment section. So, you know, I'm going to try and aim my heal towards these guys because I've got Screeching Solo. I want to try and make good use of this. You can see the Frank slowly dying. He's got to be pretty angry that I use my super to try and kill the enemies and not heal him up. So unfortunately, we're going to concede there. 30 seconds left to try and turn this one around. So yeah, you can see this Frank is very mad at me, but we're just trolling around as Screeching Solo Pocos do. So should be able to get our super in time. Should be able to damage pretty much all of them and nearly cycle our super again. One thing I don't really want to see with Poco though is changing his super charge rate. I remember when they changed it to 4 hits, I think it was last year, and you know, Screeching Solo was pretty toxic. Maybe we might see something like that similar well pretty soon, just because again, like Poco really not the strongest right now. But yeah, that's going to be the 4th brawler, which has really fell off. Let's hop into number 3. Alright guys, jumping into the 3rd brawler, which I believe has fallen off the most within the Brawl Stars meta within the past 6 months. It has to be Anita. So by no means, Anita wasn't really the best brawler in the game for such a long time. You know, she's not really been the strongest, but as time has gone on, she's gone from somewhat a balanced brawler where you can potentially pull it out if the enemy brings like a tank. But I think now, especially since the introduction of gears, it's been what, over 6 months now since the introduction of gears, so kind of need to leave that in the past. But just for a long time, she's not really been too strong. Just so many different brawlers can just run away from a bear, take a bear down really quickly. Just so many things that really counter Anita in this meta. I'd like to see her being used somewhat. So her niche has always been, you know, like Brawl Ball, Gem Grab, Heist, for example, with Hyper Bear. There's some of the best game modes for her, but again, don't really see her being used whatsoever. In the low trophy game modes and low trophy, well, low rank power league, she might still be pretty strong just because of the Hyper Bear style power. But in those high elo matches and just competitive, never really an option, even to counter tanks, just because even the tanks can counter Anita right now. That's when you know she isn't the strongest. So she probably needs a few buffs, maybe make her bear one shot, will make her supercharge rate one shot less, so you get her bear quicker. She needs some damage. She needs quite a few buffs to make her somewhat relevant in the meta. Don't want her to be too toxic, because I remember, well, if you guys watched my video not too long ago where I spoke about how broken her gadget was, you know, that meta was toxic, because you could just instantly stun people and then the Hyper Bear would just go to town. You know, it could be pretty frustrating if Anita was meta again, but she needs to be somewhat viable. She needs to at least be able to hold her lane somewhat when it comes down to lane, so she'll be able to get the stun on Mortis. We are using the stun and Hyper Bear combination just because I thought it'd be nice and fitting for this video. So we're going to use a stun again on the Squeak. That should be the Squeak down, so we should be able to get the Jackie as well with the Hyper Bear. Hoping the bear can at least go towards, but you just see here, even brawlers like Jackie can still eventually take down Bruce because of how slow he is. Maybe even Bruce could get an increase in his speed, just because, you know, he was really strong back in the day, and over time Bruce has kind of fell off as well. So that should be the third brawler that has fallen off the most. Let's hop into number 2. Okay, so now jumping into the second brawler which has fallen off the most within the meta, it has to be Grom. So of course Grom was pretty much the best brawler inside of the game for such a long, well, not really a long time, a couple of months really. You know, he was undisputed best brawler in the game, and they really nerfed him to oblivion. They had a couple of mechanic changes where his main attack completely changed. So you know, well, you can't just auto aim it down completely, kind of like how Dynamite is. Before, you could just auto aim it like crazy and it would instantly explode on the enemies. Same with his super as well, that got nerfed. So of course, you know, you're gonna see a big change with Grom. You know, I thought maybe at the beginning people wouldn't really think he's the strongest, then over time be somewhat okay, but I just think Grom is really, really bad. Really don't like Grom in this meta, and so many different better throwers in the game right now. Only even Dynamite I'll pretty much put ahead of Grom, because you know, the amount of damage that Dynamite can put out, it's a lot easier to hit his mines onto people as well. And again, Grom only really useful somewhat when it comes down to knockout, when like Tick, Sprout are banned, and maybe as a last pick Grom, because he's just so easily counterable as well. It's just damn right atrocious in this meta. So again, didn't really want to make the video on just brawlers that are really bad, but just feel like Grom has just completely fell off. He's just really not the strongest right now when it comes down to anything in the game. So in terms of buffs with Grom, it'd be quite interesting to see what you guys think in terms of his buffs, just because I just don't feel like he really fits into the Brawl Stars meta. I don't know what it is about him. He just doesn't really seem satisfying to play. Even when he was one of the strongest brawlers in the game, it just was really boring to play. And yeah, I just don't really like him. Maybe a few of you guys are Grom mains out there, to kind of feel bad for you, because he's just not a type of brawler that I could find really that enjoyable to play. So let's see. Okay, no, somehow I don't squeeze that one in, but it could be a couple of easy changes with him, you know, just increasing his supercharge rate, increasing his damage or something. But I don't think that's the problem. I think his mechanics are just really bad. I couldn't really see Grom being good in the meta anytime soon, when his mechanics are just so awful right now. And yeah, just really not fun to use. Completely fell off. So that is going to be the second brawler that has fell off. Let's hop into number 1. Alright guys, jumping into the brawler which has fallen off the most within the Brawl Stars meta within the past 6 or 8 months. It has to be Buzz. So Buzz, about 8 months ago, was pretty much the best brawler in the game, if not a top 5 brawler in the meta, just because of how strong he was, being able to cycle his stuns so easily. You saw a lot in World Finals how much he was used, and his win rate as well was absolutely insane. And as time has gone on, he's just became weaker and weaker, and it's not because of any nerfs. It's just been the meta. It's really weird how he's just became pretty much one of the worst brawlers inside of a game. I know Siege isn't a mode anymore, which he used to just completely thrive on because of his gadget. He used to be absolutely insane on, but it just seems a little bit too easy to take down at Buzz. He's been dying of some sort of buff for such a long time, and he's pretty much unusable when it comes down to Power League. Just really don't feel there's any sort of need for him. There's just better assassins in the meta right now, and it's not really the assassin type meta, you know. Brawlers like Fang as well kind of fallen off. There's just a lot of different strategies which can take down assassins now, and it's just not that great. I just really don't believe that there's any sort of purpose for him right now. Let me know if there's any type of map or mode you still really see Buzz being used on, and I would like to hear, because maybe I'm underrating him a little bit, but I just feel like he has really just gone from well, he's just fallen from grace. He used to be so incredibly strong. He used to love using Buzz, and now just don't really see him being used whatsoever when it comes down to scrims, competitive, Power League, even on ladder. I don't really see him being used. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. A little bit of a weird one. You guys might be wondering about what does fell off even mean. You know, I see it all the time on Twitter. Maybe a lot of you guys should know the meaning of it. It's just basically where you go from like the highest of highs to the lowest of lows within a short amount of time. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.